The gold under London. There's a street in London, Threadneedle Street. Right now, underneath it, there are 400,000 gold bars. Over £200 billion worth. Stacked on wooden pallets, 3 floors down in the dark. And if you ask most British people who own all that gold, they get the answer completely wrong. Because almost none of it belongs to Britain. To get to the bottom of it, no pun intended, you have to start in 1694. The Bank of England. The Bank of England is old. Not established last century old. Founded before the United States existed old. Its whole purpose was to be the government's banker, manage debt, move money, keep the financial machine running. By 1734, it was on Threadneedle Street, and it hasn't moved since. For 252 years it was private. Then in 1946, the government took it over. The nickname came from a cartoon. January 1797, a satirist drew the prime minister bent over an old woman, clearly after her gold. The old woman was the bank. People started calling it the Old Lady of Threadneedle Street. That was 229 years ago. The name is still there. The building you see today was rebuilt between 1924 and 1933. Workers excavated 15 meters. Into the ground, 3 basement levels. A reinforced concrete wall 2.5 meters thick around the entire underground perimeter. The result: 10 separate gold vaults across 2 underground floors, covering around 3,000 square meters. Picture 10 football pitches. Now put them underground, beneath one of the most built-up cities on the planet. What's actually down there? Each bar weighs about 12.5 kilograms, roughly the weight of a car tire. They sit on wooden-based metal pallets, 80 bars per pallet, and those stacks get piled on top of each other. The whole thing looks more like a very organized warehouse than the movie version of a gold vault. Getting in is another matter: voice recognition, a key that's nearly 1 meter long. In the entire history of the building, nobody has ever stolen a single bar. Here's the part I couldn't get over. The Bank of England owns 2 gold bars. 2 both in their own museum, where visitors can try to lift one. The £200 billion underneath? The bank owns almost none of it. Only about 6% belongs to the UK Treasury. The rest is stored on behalf of foreign governments, foreign central banks, international institutions, countries that decided London was safer than home. The bank charges 3.5 pence per bar per night, which sounds like nothing until you do the maths on 400,000 bars. By 2018, roughly 1/5 of all the gold in the world was sitting in those London vaults. As of January 2026, across all 8 vaulting facilities in the city, including commercial operators like HSBC and JP Morgan, the total sat at 9,158 tons, valued at $1.467 trillion. London handles about 70% of global gold trading by volume. Most people walking past have no idea. The sewer man. This is my favorite part. The directors of the Bank of England started getting letters. Anonymous, handwritten, deeply unsettling. The writer said he had access to their gold vault. Not theoretical access, actual access. He offered to prove it, told them to pick a night, pick a time, and he would be waiting inside. They agreed. Gathered in the vault at the specified time, probably expecting nothing. Then the floor moved. A scraping sound. A section of floorboards shifted upward, and a man appeared, head first, pushing up through the floor of the Bank of England's gold vault. He was a sewerman. Doing repair work on the drainage system, he'd stumbled onto an old, forgotten drain running directly under the vault. He'd explored it. He'd been standing under the gold on multiple occasions without anyone knowing. He hadn't taken anything. The bank did a full stocktake, everything accounted for. Because the man had come forward instead of quietly filling his pockets, they paid him £800, roughly 80,000 in today's money. The drain was sealed that week. Operation Fish. September 1939. Germany has invaded Poland. Britain is at war. And someone at the bank is asking the question nobody wants to say out loud. What happens to all of this if the Germans get to London? The answer was Operation Fish, the largest physical movement of wealth in recorded history. Over several months, convoy after convoy crossed the Atlantic. Gold went into the Bank of Canada's vault in Ottawa and into a secret facility 3 floors underground beneath the Sun Life building in Montreal. More than 1,500 tons made the crossing. Total value, over £470 million. In today's money, around $67 billion. Not one ship was lost. Not one ingot went missing. And until after the war ended, not a single person involved said a word publicly. When the first gold train pulled into Montreal station, the Bank of England's man on the ground walked up to the Canadian officials on the platform and said, "Hope you don't mind our dropping in unexpectedly like this. But we've brought along quite a large shipment of fish." Brown's Bottom. May 7, 1999, Gordon Brown announced that the UK was going to sell a large chunk of its gold. That day, gold was at $282 per ounce. The stated reasoning was defensible. Gold had been a bad investment for years. Fine, but then Brown announced the sale in advance. Not just that gold would be sold, but exactly how much, and exactly when each auction would happen. He handed the market a complete schedule. The price dropped 10% before the first auction took place. 17 auctions later, 395 tons sold, average price $275 per ounce, total raised around $3.5 billion. Then, almost immediately, gold started going up. By 2011, those 395 tons would have been worth over $19 billion. At 2024 prices, more than $53 billion. For gold that sold for $3.5 billion. The episode picked up a name, Brown's Bottom. Today the UK holds 310 tons. The United States holds 8,133. Poland, an economy roughly 7 times smaller than the UK, holds more gold than Britain. The question was, how much gold is hidden under London? At the Bank of England alone, around 400,000 bars. Across all London vaults to 9,158 tons. Roughly 3% of every ounce ever pulled out of the ground in human history, concentrated under one city. The gold has been there for 330 years. It survived 2 world wars. It survived Gordon Brown. Every night, 3 floors underground, 400,000 bars sit on their wooden pallets in the dark. At 3.5 pence each, that's over 38,000 pounds a night. Just to keep the lights off.